Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case. Welcome if you're currently here in the live premiere. I appreciate it. Today we have a collection of updates within the case. It ranges from the cap/hat found in Lucin, Utah, near to Don Hatley's place, as well as an additional interesting, slightly suspicious finding, possibly. Also ranging to Lance Kelly and the Cadaver dog scenario and what's going on there. So I've got bits and bobs to get through today. I thought I'd put it all into one to share with you. You can share your own thoughts, opinions and reactions in the live chat box, whether you agree with the updates or not. Are you surprised or shocked by them, etc. Okay, be sure to interact in the chat, and you can talk about a few other bits in between, okay? And of course, feel free to leave comments down below later or whenever if you do have any questions or thoughts. No harm in doing that. As well, we probably can cover a little bit of conflict which has gone on in the background, or whether it's always been there or it's come back to the top again. I don't know. But I just feel that maybe some of my predictions recently have come true once again, and very close and back to one another, right? Even the bit about Lance Kelly and his post, it was a bit weird that the timing, because it's happened more than once now. But to understand all what's going to be talked about today, hopefully you can stick around from start to finish to understand the whole picture, okay? So yes, we do have a collection of different updates today. We're doing it in an appropriate order. I think to start things off, we can look back at the previous video, okay? Shout out to Mimi for becoming a member on the channel and their presence last night. Very good of them. Shout out to Org. I think Org's cat hit the send super chat button. So that's very good of Org's cat, you know, in sync with the kitty cat crew. That's all good. And as well, shout out to Graham once again for his presence last night. That was good of him. And I'm going to try and make sure that we go onto the maps today. So if Graham isn't here right now, anyone watching, let Graham know. We're going to be going to another place today called Graham, okay? Be on the lookout for that later on in this video. But yeah, I'll provide a link down below in the pinned comment section from last night's video if you wish to check it out. It was to do with Dylan Round's discussion, some deep talking in a way, as well as like the situation with Betty Haywood, or at least my interpretation of it. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, link down below, pinned comment section. Make sure to watch it after watching this. We'll just look at the comments now just to see if there's any questions that need answering, any interesting information. And then once people have all joined on in, we can go on from there and get into the main part of this video, okay? Here we are, just arrange it. Start from the bottom. We haven't got too many comments to get through this time round, so that could be practical, right? But I'm sure they're still important. So Tom Evans says, Candice Cooley on Eastern Idaho News said there was a dog handler and her dog that met her and Box Elder at Lucin Pond. She said the dog person drove to hours to help them. The dog only worked for 15 minutes. The dog kept hitting the same place around the pond. Right. So, Tom Evans, hopefully you're here right now. I do have some questions to ask you regarding this comment of yours. So you're referring to Candice Cooley on Eastern Idaho News with Nate Eaton, correct? One of the interviews. Which one are we talking about? Are we talking about a recent interview on East Idaho News with Candice Cooley? Or are you referring to one which happened months ago? Or are you referring to one interview which occurred in 2022? If you're able to answer, feel free. If you can provide a link in the comments section or chat wherever, it'll be good if you do that, just so I can maybe check it out and see what I have missed, okay? The reason why I say that is, if it's recent, well, kind of recent, maybe like a month or two ago, I could kind of understand it possibly tying in with the 21st of May 2023, when a person called Janice or something was on Find Dylan Round's Facebook page and was near to Lucin Pond on that day and witnessed who she didn't know at the time was Candice Cooley, a sheriff 1 hour earlier, and a couple of other people. If that ties in with what you said, Tom, then maybe I can understand it. But I just can't remember when Candice Cooley did talk about dog handler being at Lucin Pond. Me personally, maybe it's because it's like a small, well, not really a small event, but maybe because there was other things going on at the time. But me personally, and I'll be honest, I don't ever remember hearing about any dogs being at Lucin Pond and reacting a certain way to that spot. I personally don't remember that. And if that's one of the spots Candice Cooley is referring to, then why does she classify it as an undisclosed place in the last East Idaho News Channel interview, which occurred just after Dylan's 1 year anniversary in May? Why refer to it then, or in recent time, as an undisclosed location, but in a past Idaho News interview, she gave the location? Do you get what I'm saying? Why reveal the location and then later not reveal the location and classify it as a secret place, even though you've already revealed where it's at in the past? So Tom Evans, feel free to clear all that up with all the questions, because I don't remember seeing this, to be honest. No. What does Sketchy say? Sketchy says, I think she is on... Oh, so Sketchy thinks that Betty Hayward is on one of those plastic... On a bag? What? I think she is on one that... Is this me malfunctioning or something? Let me just recalibrate the text here and see if I can say it better. I think Betty Hayward is on one of those plastic bags where you win the goldfish at the fair. Okay. So that's where Betty Hayward could be, hence why she's been quiet. Yeah, maybe she does want a goldfish. Yeah, interesting. I mean, Sketch, I heard Bella V is into hook a duck. She seems to be very good at hooking. Yeah, Sketchy. If you got any ducks around, make sure they don't get caught by her. Bella V is a very good hooker when it comes to that carnival game with the ducks. Good job. Weezer popping in, saying, just wanted to pop in and say hi. I haven't forgotten everyone, just super busy at work, so I've been watching replays. That's fine. We've got Glenn as well. Tom saying, I don't honestly know about this body of water. I'll have to ask. It is in the right area, but that's all I know. I'll have to get back to you on this one. There we go. Brad saying, I don't get why when I try to elaborate further on potential search area using certain keywords and reasoning, it gets deleted immediately 4 times already. Either perfectly timed glitches or this thread is rigged. A couple of people now have said the same thing, Brad. Experienced the same scenario. No clue what's going on. Typical YouTube playing up. As said, not that long ago, YouTube was screwing me over and restricting my videos because supposedly it did not meet the guidelines when it 100% did meet the guidelines. It kind of improved since, but still, unknown waters, right? You never know what's around the corner. And I said, when it comes to comments, you can get some dodgy people, dodgy accounts out there that can say what they want and nothing happens. And then when a normal person says a normal thing, they get restricted. They get the comment taken down, whatever. I've experienced it myself on other channels. I don't know if they'll ever fix it or not, but it is pretty silly, to be honest. What else do we have? Brad saying, a petrol gas-powered pressure washer can suck its own water up and does not require mains water pressure, so you could wash down at any water source, such as Lucin Pond, etc., if that helps anyone. First, I had heard about Kurt possibly helping Dylan load a new pressure washer into his truck, and it makes sense too. Further supports the theory of Dylan washing his truck in Montello. I mean, does it really matter if Dylan washed his truck down, yes or no? Is it the end of the world? I guess people have just been going back and forth on it, trying to make sense, because it kind of refers back to possibilities of, if it wasn't Dylan, was it somebody else tied in the disposal of Dylan rounds? So it can have like a knock-on effect with links, possible ones, either reinforcing or debunking. I mean, let's say how should I say it? Let's do a poll right now, like a conditional one. The poll can be, if there is more evidence to support the fact that it was Dylan Rounds that cleaned his truck beforehand, before going missing, and it wasn't washed down later after Dylan went missing, more so natural rainfall, because it was raining on the weekend. If those conditions are met, does it rule out the possibilities that Dylan's truck was used to dispose of Dylan? Would you agree with that? Yes, no, maybe, I don't know. Because if someone is going to use something as part of the crime, they're going to dispose of it afterwards, and if not that, they're going to return it back and clean it up, right? Kind of like maybe with the key fob and gun. Why not do the same thing with the truck, right? Now, was any DNA found inside of Dylan's pickup truck? Because I'm sure I heard Candice Cooley in the early days say it was wiped clean. There was no evidence found within. Right? If the inside has been cleaned, it can't have been Dylan. Dylan doesn't seem like the type of person to do that. So it must be whoever was inside of it who may have used it in the process of disposal. Though why did they not clean the outside of it? Is it because it would seem a bit out of the ordinary if it was washed because of the conditions and environment it's in? It wouldn't need washing. It would be pointless. Maybe, but then again, you could say, why wash and clean down the gun and key fob if Dylan would never do it? But then again, the suspects, the one charged Brenner, do they really know Dylan's behavioural patterns of how he goes around and does things? Probably not. They're not going to be monitoring his every move. And because they're not monitoring his every move, they failed to replicate Dylan's behaviour, right? If you're good at imitating someone, the behaviour, the patterns, the actions, and you take them out and still make it seem as if they're still alive or around because you mimic those patterns, maybe you can get away with it. Though, in this case, it wasn't replicated because Dylan's truck was locked, and normally Dylan doesn't lock his truck, so that was one odd thing. Gun and key fob being cleaned down probably normally isn't cleaned down, which would normally have prints on of Dylan. So that's another slightly suspicious thing. All-wheel drive being turned on or left on, whatever. Something that normally wouldn't be the case with Dylan because Dylan knew it was broken. So somebody else who wasn't aware must have turned it on thinking it was okay to use when it wasn't. Seat being adjusted, one of the dead giveaways. If Dylan is a certain height and weight, he'll have the seat positioned in a certain way. But that's not replicated by whoever else was inside of it because of the seat being adjusted, if you're interpreting it as driving and operating behind the wheel. So really, the lack of replicating led to things standing out, right? Suspicion growing with time. That's what I would say. As Jacqueline say, as far as I know, the dog is undergoing training. Lance himself has to go at some point for his training in using the dog to search, to get to know the signs. He and Kimber joined that big search for Aidan Clunes and has been sharing videos. He is home now as far as I know. Right. Okay. So, you say that has been showing videos, uploading them to his channel. So, his recent search videos for Aidan Clune, are they old ones now? From back in, was it May 20th or something? Or is it May 20th? I'm just trying to think now. Yeah, I think no. Or was it June? Between May or June with those searches in the background. But obviously Lance still uploads videos here and there, so are the old ones, are they up to date, real time, like today or yesterday? Does anyone know? I know some people in the past have called Lance out for certain videos being outdated or locations being circled over and over again. Okay, so that's it for the comments there. What we can do now is move on to more focus on Lance Kelly. There is a community post by him. If we scroll down, there we go. Earthworm Infotainment, 23 hours ago. Just get rid of that now. Let's begin reading. Earthworm says, well, Lance says, the real K9 search team for the missing is coming together. Hydra, our cadaver dog, is getting her training in now. Huge thank you to Mama Down Under and Renee Brown for getting Hydra gear from her wish list, and to all of you who donated to make this dream a reality. You are so amazing. She'll be here before we know it. We proved all the haters wrong, and it's sweet. If you would like to get Hydra something from her wish list, link, here it is, Amazon. I guess we can check out the Amazon wish list in a second, okay? So because of Mama Down Under and Renee Brown, they're the ones responsible for buying stuff from the Amazon wish list, okay? So I guess that provides a bit of an update to, behind people who were confused as to what's really going on behind the scenes. So the dog is in training, getting on with that. And I guess maybe it ties in with what Jacqueline said in just that previous comment about how at some point Lance has to go down himself and learn to. And I guess maybe develop that bond relationship with the dog. So once they're paired up and the chemistry is built, it's more effective and efficient down the line when you have to cooperate, vice versa, with the dog and one another searching. I get that. I guess there's some accessories, the supplies. One says chill out, so like some kind of cooling pad for the dog, I guess. Is that like a dog's treat dispenser, maybe? We've got some straps and a harness. What does it say? Cadaver dog, working dog, do not pet. Right, I see. So I guess that's just to make it a little bit more official, I guess. We'll just check the comments. Lance and Kimber, review that hate 100. You stayed focused and soared. Lessons, growth, and perseverance. I'm so proud of y'all. Thank you for your brave, tireless, and often unnoticed effort. I mean, in the early to mid-range days, Lance Kelly, his channel, I wouldn't say unnoticed. You look at Lance Kelly's videos, he's got like some in the maybe 1 or 2, 100, 200,000 views. That's pretty noticed, to be honest. You look at some of his other searches. I think at one point it was like on average 7 to 20,000 views per video, if you remember. But then it came to that point where it kind of like really dropped off. But that doesn't just apply to Lance Kelly. It can apply to anyone that covers the case, because simply people lost interest in the Dylan Rounds case, or simply lost stamina, and it kind of went downhill. But in recent time, because of the odd catalyst and consistency from one somewhere, I guess it's led to the resurgence and focus on the case, right? So all those other times where you think, oh, time to jump off board the ship and jump onto another one or so, because you think it's going downhill, it might seem like that, but I don't mean to say that's going to be the literal outcome. Okay, it's kind of bounced back up since. Pet Blankers. I think I've seen this person before. They left a comment on my channel. It was a positive one. So shout out to Pat Blankers. They said, it'll be so good to have a buddy like Hydra by your side when you go out searching. What your eyes can't see, Hydra will smell. Hope Hydra will take you on a lot of adventures in search of the missing. Earthworm family deserves this sweet puppy. Wow, look at those cool duds. Right, okay. So I guess let's just go on to the Amazon wish list right now. There we go, straight to the point. Okay, let's just see. What's this say? Wish list. Thank you for thinking of bringing them home search team. We appreciate all of you. So we got a Roy Silly double dog bowl pet feeding station. Okay. We got a Halo Bolt compact portable car jump starter. I didn't think a cadaver dog needs a jump starter. Oh. A senior advanced multifunctional supplement for dogs. 11-in-1 bites. A light up dog collar, single colour USB rechargeable whatever. Yeah, I've seen those like light up collars in the past, like when I was going on a walk down a very dodgy dark passageway with no lights. I saw like a green band hovering towards me from the distance, and it was a dog, but it kind of looked a bit spooky. We got another USB rechargeable glowing pet thing. We got an Earth rated product edition dog sheet bags. Okay. I mean, do you need sheet bags to be on an Amazon wish list? Surely you can get the bags from a local store, right? Or these like super duper special high resistant sheet bags so they don't rip, tear and spill out everywhere. Maybe. I mean, they are red coloured, so maybe they are a bit more special. We got a Bedshaw waterproof large dog bed, 4-inch. I think that bed is probably better quality than what Bellevue sleeps on. Wow. And we've got a GoPro Fetch dog harness. That's different. Are the dogs okay with GoPros being stuck onto them? I guess. We got a dog travel bag, dog food. We got Earth Bath oatmeal and aloe vera shampoo and conditioner for pets. An Echo Rock dog flying ring toys glow in the dark frisbee. Do cadaver dogs require frisbees if they're supposed to be looking for missing people? We got a chew toy of a cactus. Rubber dog toy. We got a multi-pet Gumby plush foiled dog toy. A heavy-duty dog leash with comfortable padded handle. That makes sense. A mini modular admin pouch tactical utility thing. Is that for the dog? We've got dog toys, a squeaky octopus. The Rex Specs V2 dog goggles. I saw those dog goggles, bit of a tongue twister that, on one of Candice Cooley's post on the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page to do with the K9 unit. I remember that. We got dog cat mat for food and water. A triple cold shoe mounts plate, gimbal microphone LED video, and a bicolour LED video light on camera. So are you going to be attaching all this electronic equipment to the cadaver dog itself? Yeah. Flip line, wire core flip line. Okay. A Xeon crane camera, stabilizer. There's a lot of stabilizers. An Apple 2022 MacBook Pro laptop, M2 chip, 13 inches, and cost over $2,000 or just under. I guess that must be for the cadaver dog to use its paws on the keys and edit the videos as well. BM Premium 2-pack, batteries, camera microphone, a Canon camera, which is a fair bit, and a MacMundo Fast Find personal locator beacon. So that is basically Lance Kelly's Amazon wish list for his cadaver dog wish list, which includes an Apple MacBook Pro. So most likely Lance Kelly already had an Amazon wish list in place, hence the different electronics, devices, which I guess he requires for his searches out there to improve the videography, the production there, and to make it clearer, easier to understand when watching, following along, whether it be the auditory or just simply the visual aspects. I get that. And as well, more so in recent time, the focus of dog-related products and items to be used in assistance with the cadaver dog, which they will eventually, use down the line. So I guess it does tie in with one another. Feel free to share your thoughts, reactions, and opinions about that Amazon wish list. I guess if we're applying it, does Salty Pancakes have an Amazon wish list? Does anyone know? Can anyone answer that? Anyone in the chat? Did Salty Pancakes ever have an Amazon wish list? I'm just thinking of that pattern with time where people have called one another out for implementing this feature or that, where either money can be made or money could be raised or money could be put towards something and then they've been called out for doing it, but then the previous person that called them out did the same thing and followed in the same footsteps, which demonstrates kind of hypocrisy. I think we've seen that already, right? Will it happen again? There's always a chance, right? I mean, the GoFundMe, where Lance Kelly did his GoFundMe, he was criticised for it by certain people out there and channels, and those channels that called Lance Kelly out did the same thing later on to do with the drone from the looks of it. So levels of hypocrisy there, I guess. It is where it is, it's one of those things. But the one thing I noticed, which is a little bit strange, okay, from my experience, is when I've covered, the Dylan Rounds case and it's got to a point where I'm like, what are the updates on things? What happened to this event? What happened to that finding? What happened to that promise made, or that this was in place in the works and we've not heard anything since? Whenever I've brought those into discussion in a video live premiere, either later on after the video has finished or more so beforehand, it coincides with someone out there making a post giving an update on a particular thing which I was questioning. But the thing is, I've not been watching or following them or those, and they don't know what I'm going to be talking about on that day. So it's very coincidental how at times when I'm going to question something to see if anyone knows the answer, there is also an update on the same exact day, but they don't know what I'm doing and I don't know what they're doing, and yet we both do it on the same day. I question, they answer, but there's no real inner link. And it's happened, a few times now, so I'm just wondering what's going on. It's a little bit strange, right? Anyone, what are your thoughts on that? You think it's a bit weird? Yeah. Anyway, that aside, that's one of the updates, presented to you. It's now time to move on to the next one, and it's more to do with Ty Corbyn and that cap hat which was found by Kaylee. So I reached out to Ty Corbyn recently. He didn't respond. I tried again, didn't respond, and then I think earlier today he did reply. So we'll look at it from that perspective. And as well, someone like one of the odd viewers who watches my videos summarised a portion of Bob Farrell's live stream just recent, how Ty Corbyn came on or phoned in and gave his side of the story with stuff and regarding the cap and hat, because Bob asked him, do you have any updates? Likely Bob Farrell asked Ty Corbyn about that because a day before I sent Bob Farrell a comment on his channel saying, have you heard any updates on the cap? So maybe subconsciously he was influenced by that to ask the right questions towards Ty Corbyn. And to be honest, the response I got from Ty Corbyn is consistent with the response he gave on Bob Farrell's channel, though on Farrell's channel a little bit more context was provided, okay? So we can take a look at that right now. Just look at the screenshots, read it, analyze it, and then apply it to the maps, okay? So here we are. This was the comment I left. Morning, do you have an update on the hat found in Lucin, Ty? And Ty responded saying, no, the cops never got back with us, okay? That is still technically an update, providing an update in the sense of, well, we've just not heard a response. Now, is that a good sign or a bad sign or just simply neutral? Well, from what Ty Corbyn said, he said the police never get back to us. Well, isn't that a slight contradiction in a way? Because if you look back to the bag of bones, you remember in Montello, Nevada, right? Was it Bald Eagle Mountain Range? And it was Ty Corbyn and Lance Kelly driving by who came across it. They inspected the bag, had a little look, and then reported it to the police. So the sheriff came on down, collected it, and then it was sent away, tested, went to the labs, and then a sheriff got in contact with them and told them about it just being simple animal bones. The police responded back then. And then the other time of when Lance Kelly, Ty Corbyn were near the railroad tracks and they supposedly found something of interest, maybe something suspicious at the time, contacted the police, sheriff, came on down, had a look, and then later contacted them that it was nothing of importance or significance in the Dylan Rounds case. So at least from what I can remember, 2 of the 3 times where Ty Corbyn may have reported something into the police got back to him or to them at the time. So why now is Ty Corbyn saying that they never respond back when they have responded back in the past? You get what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah? I mean, I can imagine in a different scenario, a different case, if you actually found something potentially important or somewhat neutral and you were like, yeah, here you go. The police got a hold of it and it was a major important lead and it needed to be treated carefully and not released public too soon or reply back to the individual at a later point because there's a great focus right now. I'd understand that. Does it apply here though? I don't know. So my question is to Ty Corbyn is, if the police normally never respond back, supposedly, then what happens? That's just it. It's a false lead, it's a dead end, no link to Dylan, and we're just supposed to guess ourselves or assume that is the outcome. What happens if there was a lead, if it was associated in the case? Do the police respond back or just follow things through and maybe contact Candice Cooley? You get what I'm saying? I mean, it'd be interesting to see what Candice Cooley thinks, and I'm not too sure. I don't know if Candice Cooley did refer to it in the last interview that a cap hat was found. I don't think so, because I'm sure the cap hat found was done after that. I'm sure. Yeah. Maybe Candice Cooley will refer to it in the future if she does any more interviews. It happened in the past with the bag of bones. That was a hot topic at the time, for and against arguments. When Candice Cooley heard about it and so on, she did criticise them and say, yeah, I don't approve of this, the way it's been handled and how it's gone about and how it's been turned or twisted in terms of applying it to Dylan's case as evidence. She wasn't too happy there. So would she be happy now with this cap hat being found? No. But at least from what Ty Corbyn said, the cops never get back to you. Even though the cops did get back to Ty Corbyn, Lance Kelly in the past. Slight contradiction, being honest. Now, another point of view, and this was mentioned on Bob Farrell's channel. I did recheck it just to make sure that it was consistent, and it was. That Ty Corbyn just said when they found the hat, they searched more in the area and found a hole about 2 foot by 4 foot deep near Don's area by the side of a mountain. So, depends how you interpret that, right? You could just say, well, simply animals, natural wildlife, burrowing holes, digging in for whatever reason. Or it could have some application to the Dylan Rounds case, maybe an attempt to bury something, a possible spot to maybe dispose of Dylan Rounds, but then figured out probably not the best place to go and moved elsewhere. I think to further our understanding or, put the theories on the table, let's just go on to the maps now and continue this. So here are the map, zoom on in, Lucin area, and just basing it from, how it's been described in the past, where Don Hatley is at, over the hill, bit of a hill over that way, just on the other side of it, here, in that area there, kind of like a gravelled area, if it is gravel. You look at the Bing slightly updated map imagery and there is a trailer there, but other people have claimed that's not the spot. The spot is at Lucin Hill, but on the other side. Still, humans have failed to provide coordinates of a simple location, but just working with what we've got and using Google Earth because it's easier to navigate and more mobile. Okay? So basically, you're looking for a bit of a mountain area on the side of it towards the bottom where it appears a hole has been dug. Kind of decent sized hole if you want to call it that. I mean, let me know your thoughts to what you think could be buried in a hole that size. What type of objects and items, right? Just zoom on out just so it's a bit easier to see. So Ty Corbyn, I can't remember exactly what road, but somewhere over this way because he did come from the pond area, which is, pardon me, here, I believe. Hold on. Let me just make sure I'm facing the correct way because sometimes it gets a little bit confusing. Yeah, I thought so. I was on the wrong side. This one here. This being Lucin Pond, Ty Corbyn being kind of near to it at the time, rotated around, started walking back to his car, which was over this way somewhere. And once he got to the road, off in the distance, which he pointed out, saying, over there is Don Hatley's place. We did map it out and compare it, you know, when we're doing our coverage at the time. So be sure to check that previous video out. And basically, Ty Corbyn didn't say it at the time, which is interesting. He only said it earlier today or last night. That at the time when he went back the following day, back then, to retrieve the hat cap or to guide the police sheriff to the area to get hold of it and to pass it on. That's when Ty Corbyn went over to Don Hatley's place or near to it when searching the mountain area, the lower ground of it, and came across a hole, like someone tried burying or opening up an opening to dispose of something with him. Right, so I guess first of all what you would be doing is just looking which way. Okay, we got a mountain over there, fine. And if we rotate around, the only other one that's close is Lucin Hill, which is back this way. So one or the other, right? And there was a hole there. Now, are you going to come across a lot of holes in the desert? Possibly. You're going to come across a lot of dirt mounds? Absolutely. From what Justin Rounds, Candice Cooley had said, more so Justin, that when they were out there and analysing the dirt mounds, kind of like the one which was near to the Grangeshed property, that it's impossible to be looking through them all because there are so many out there and they can be caused by animals too. And I guess what can also cause dirt mounds will be if you've got flooding in the wash area. And as we've seen recently, the wash has kind of flooded. So that's going to disturb things, cause disruptance, right? Like the wash here. It's going to cause maybe the walls of the wash to break away slightly, to erode, for dirt, debris to collect, and for it to move on. And maybe it gets washed up on the sides or so, which can create a few little mounds there. So I can understand what Justin was saying, how there's a lot out there, and it don't mean to say that they're all suspicious. One of them could, but it could still be like searching a needle in a haystack because of the amount out there. You got to try and find the correct one. Besides that, with the thoughts, ideas mainly being focused on possibilities of Dylan Rounds being buried somewhere, whether it's once or multiple times. What I would say is, whichever spot where Ty Corbyn came across the hole, he told the sheriffs about it, the police, but they didn't really do much about it or respond back. I mean, Ty Corbyn, if you know, did the police ever go back to that hole dug? You know, did they take any soil samples at the time? I know you said that they didn't respond back about the hat, but did they take any action with the hole itself near to Don's place? Let me know your thoughts. If anyone in chat knows the answer, feel free to provide it, okay? Interesting. I mean, if we're going back over this way, right? And if this is the spot... I hate it when it does that. If around here is the spot here where Don Hatley's place is at, okay, it's over the mountain. Which side of the mountain did you go to, Ty Corbyn? Because, well, maybe if you're in a position where you can't say public, okay, I get that. But all I'm saying is, from what Ty Corbyn has said previous, is that the road to Don Hatley's or Hatley's is private, so we don't go down there. And other people have avoided going down there because they don't want to get in trouble, right? Even though Don Hatley is no longer living here, there's not as much of a threat anymore, right? So it would make me think that if Ty Corbyn was further down here, which I'd understand, because if you found a hat nearby to Don's place, even though it's not exactly that near, but I guess near enough, maybe close. Is it closer to Don's than it is to the pond? I can't remember, to be honest, because I don't know the exact spot where the hat cap was found, so I wouldn't be able to do an accurate measure. But nevertheless, if it's within the area, the radius, then maybe you could be directed to go on over to Don's place. If it truly hasn't been searched, you search yourself and see what you can find. Now, with the wildlife out there, things being burrowed holes, dirt mounds forming, animals scavenging for food, for whatever else, other resources, to try and dig up bones possibly, maybe, scatter stuff. Animals, wildlife, they're going to be out there. They're going to be digging holes. Which exact animal responsible, I don't know. If you know, you can share your thoughts. We can do another poll right now based off what Ty Corbyn has said most recent about some kind of hole in the side of the mountain near to Don Hatley's place. Is it anything of suspicion, intrigue? Is it simply normal, caused by animals, or something else, or I don't know. Make sure to vote on the different options to what you think, what you believe in. Maybe we can go from there, right? If Don Hatley's place hasn't really been truly searched properly by other people, then maybe it needs to be, because who knows what could be there, right? You never know. If anyone does have counterpoints to say this is not Don Hatley's place, feel free to explain the true location down below, okay? But why would this area be selected if it was the case? Would Don Hatley, if some kind of evidence was hidden, concealed here, would Don Hatley have been aware of it? Did he do it himself? Or was it Brenner secretly doing it to cover his own back? In that maybe if it does go wrong, it falls on Don Hatley, the one to blame, because it's nearer to him than it is to Brenner. I wonder what the circumstances are. Any backstabbing or double crossing taking place or in the works to happen. Makes you think, right? Is it kind of concealed? Not well, maybe from the west side, but the south, no. East, no, because you got all up there, and you've got Lucin Airport as well, and north too. I think what we got to acknowledge is on top up here you got, is that gravel, grain? Why is this here? Is it because it's an old quarry? Was this like a quarry in the past? Could be. You can see track marks still. Well, at least from 2019. I mean, what I was going to say was, if it was used for like quarrying, digging, creating holes, then maybe some holes were left behind and remained as they were for however long. And then if Ty Corbyn came across it thinking, maybe this could link to the case when it doesn't. But Ty Corbyn himself, the way he described it, he didn't really exaggerate on that occasion. He just simply said, came across a hole, came across something in the side of the mountain. Now, from what he said, nothing of interest, like object-wise evidence, was found inside of the hole. Nothing like buried or attempted to be buried. Just an exposed hole. Now, if you've got an exposed hole, is that a sign of suspicion? Does it need checking? And I don't mean by a doctor. I mean by police. But this is the thing. You look back to when Brenner and maybe somebody else was assisting in disposing of Dylan Rounds. There could have been the odd moment where they went to a spot, or one did, and thought, maybe we'll do it here. And may have started digging a hole and then realised, maybe it's not that practical, and went on to a different spot. You never know, so you might get these like these false leads with false hope. You think you found it, but no, it was like a dud. Is there any other locations of interest to take a look? I don't know. I mean, I think we've covered Lucin fairly well. If there is anyone in the chat right now that has their own thoughts, opinions as to places of interest within Lucin, Utah, make sure to leave the names down below, or places of interest, whether it be a peak, whether it be a certain section, if it's named like Grouse Creek, or what's the other one? Governor's Spring, or Pigeon Mountain, Little Pigeon Mountain, those type of places. Any of them that ring a bell to you or others, feel free to list them and explain why you think they need checking out and why they need searching. Now, my question is, did Candice Cooley, Justin Rounds themselves ever go down to Don Hatley's trailer? Did they ever do that or not? Okay, maybe the police did at one point, once or twice, but maybe not too thorough. But did the family go down there? And if they didn't, why not? If they've searched everywhere else and have had permission, then I'm sure they would have permission to go down to Don Hatley's and check. If Don Hatley refused, then maybe you could say there's a little bit of suspicion. If he's acting a bit defensive, if you've got nothing to hide, then you should allow them down there to simply have a look. Unless the parents just thought it was irrelevant and they didn't need to go down to that spot. But if there is the odd bit of suspicion within some, like Justin, that Don Hatley played a role in some way, maybe as a witness, saw something he wasn't supposed to, or just told to keep quiet about it, or he played more of a direct role, then I'd probably say you should be going up to Don Hatley's trailer and just looking about, turning up the ground, look at the side of the mountains, anything of interest, anything that's out the ordinary, directional, patterns like that. But I think that could be maybe the one spot which has been kind of not really truly explored. Unless it has and someone can back it up, feel free to do so. But at least from what I've seen and heard, it is kind of lacking, right? So whilst we're on the maps, that aside from the Dylan Rounds case, put that aside for now. Don't worry, we will be returning back to it shortly in this video, so make sure not to go anywhere. But one location we needed to check out and have a look at in acknowledgement of Graham Knott for his presence and consistency, watching the videos, as well as having a fairly good sense of humour. And, with the super chats too, we need to take a look at another place called Graham. Last time we looked at North Carolina, Graham City. Now it's time to look a little bit closer to the Grainshed property, and I think it kind of links in well with one another. So just got to zoom in for a second, rotate around, and it should show up somewhere. We need to get a little bit closer. Look what's there. Look what's there on the opposite side of the Salt Lake. We've got Graham Peak. Graham, where are you, mate? I hope you're here right now watching this video. We found Graham Creek. Yeah, I bet you like that, Graham. So, okay, we had the Nipple Peak. Watcher Crazy is a big fan of that. Watcher said she wants to hike up it and reach the tip. But Graham Peak is available as well. Now, my question is, Graham, how many times have you hiked up your own peak? Is your peak very tall? Let me know, Graham. I wonder if there's any photos. So it tells me probably not. Let's see. Graham surprising me. Wow. Okay, we'll take a look at those photos in a second. So this is what Graham's Peak looks like near to Cobb Pike. Okay. Just trying to see if I can see Miss T on one of her hikes. Can't quite see her at the moment. Never mind. Let's get rid of that for a second. We've got Campbell Peak as well. So a little collection of them. Overlooking Lucin in the distance. I think I know why Graham Peak is here. It's a hot spot for Graham to sit on his lawn chair at the top of the summit and overlook Lucin and the grain shed. As I said, Graham has got a sticker book full of grain shed photos, and he basically sits on his own peak observing the view. That's why Graham is so passionate about grain sheds and the one in Lucin. So that all makes sense now. Everybody give Graham a round of applause, or use the whip emoji to just acknowledge that he does exist on the maps once again. So as you see right in the middle of the screen, we're right at the tip of Graham's Peak. A little bit pointy, quite tall as well. Is there any photos though? Oh, Graham's uploaded a 360-degree photo right at the top. Oh, Graham. We'll look at that in a second. Let's just check the additional photos out, okay? So this one seems to be on ground level. Get that white box off the screen right now. Stop disturbing Graham time. Nobody should be disrupting Graham time. Hold on, there we go. Let's focus once again. So it's on the ground level. Is that all salt on the floor? Oh, there's a car as well, or a pickup truck in the distance over there. It must be them, maybe. What's these piles? Is that salt or snow? Looks more like salt. Looks very grainy. Have you noticed that the photo quality itself is very grainy, granular? Grainy, granular, Graham. There you go, triple G. It's not Gennady Golovkin or the boxer. No, we got triple G Graham. Yeah, very dry. Whoa, what do we have here? Interesting photo. Like a panoramic one. Oh, that's a lot of salt. Oh, poor Graham. Graham, you must be getting into a knot, having to put up with this amount of salt. Have the potato pickers invaded your peak? You know, they're trying to absorb all the liquid in the area. Oh, Graham, I think you might need some assistance. Look at that. I mean, yeah, there's always that possibility of snow, of course. I think, to be honest, it looks more like snow. I don't think Graham would have salt gathered like this, would you? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's to try and throw you off the scent. Maybe you think it's snow, but also it could well be simply salt. And you get there and you're kind of lured into a trap. I think Graham has got some kind of secret traps in the area. Isn't that right? I think Graham, been watching too much Home Alone. Yeah. There we go. We've got another photo there. Quite good with the reflection. Yeah, that's pretty good. Not the best quality, but you know, the setup to it is good. Oh, where have we gone now? Looks like we're going into a bit of a jungle area. More vegetation. Must be a different area though. Looks different. Okay. Oh, some trees knocked down. Looks a bit rough. There we go, back on the road. Surrounded by all kinds of mountains and peaks. I think at one point in the Kenny Beach case when Jeff Claw was in the desert area within Nevada, Mojave Desert near Las Vegas. Saying that when he was down one of the canyons, it kind of like felt you were trapped within it because of the tall mountains surrounding you, kind of like encased. So I can understand. Final photo, and yep, there we go. Looking off to the side, that vehicle parked up there. I think that might be the one what we saw earlier. Once again, very grainy visuals. Well done, Graham. Well done, Graham. Hopefully Graham Peak is happy for the visit. I'm sure, Graham, you're going to have a 500% boost in tourism, people going into the area. Maybe even Heavy D and his crew might come on down and have a look. Would you like that, Graham? Nod your head. Okay. But whilst we're here, let's look at that 360-degree one. Oh, we got two. This is on lower ground, not quite on Graham's Peak, but we'll just take a look at where it's at, what it's about. No harm in doing that. Right, what's this all about? Oh, cyclist. Looks like a cyclist. Yeah. Oh, wait, is that a singular bike where it's got two? Oh, it's a tandem bike. Oh, my. Oh, this explains it all now. Oh, I know what's happened here. Everybody make sure to maintain focus in 5 seconds. Okay. Surrounded by all this. And then you look here. You got a tandem bike for 2 people. 2 guys, 1 bike. It's Dale, it's Graham, and they're pedaling together as one. Oh, Graham. Is that you, Graham, giving Dale a tour of your area? Yeah, you're going to give Dale a tour of your peak. Ooh, careful. Easy there. And, you know, I know Matt Lingo said something about someone wearing leggings, whatever that's on about. I think what Matt Lingo was referring to was Dale raided the wardrobe once again of his ex-wife, and he started wearing them, and he thought, ooh, I quite like this fit. I quite like this friction and feel on the bike when I'm behind Graham. Dale. And this is the thing. If anyone was to pick Dale up on a bike and to say, where's your hard hat? Where's your helmet? Where's your bike helmet? Dale says, don't worry, I'm already strapped on in. That's what she said. But he had his hat already attached because it never leaves his head. Same with his headphones. So Dale is walking around with 24-hour health and safety regulations, okay? I wouldn't be surprised if Dale is the creator and architect behind all of health and safety acts within the US. Dale is the one that has set it all up. Yeah, isn't that right? So let's just take a look at the other place as well whilst we're here. Oh, okay. This one. Right at the tip, or part towards the tip. Well, I'd say we're right at the tip. Whoa. Just get rid of that. Pretty good. We've got a little backpack there with the camel thing, camel bladder, what you suck on. Hiking poles as well to get up there. Yeah, you get a good view. You do. Not quite sure which way we're facing, to be honest. Oh, wait, is that? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Do you like Graham's Peak? Would you go here? Watch her crazy? You think it's worthwhile? So basically this is the spot where Dale sits and uses his binoculars. I mean, when it comes to Org.dot, he uses his binoculars in the bedroom window, but, you know, Graham likes being outside in the open, so you can get a clearer view. Though Org, you know, I'm sure the cats may use the telescope at times when looking at the sun, or well, maybe not the sun, that's probably not good for the eyes, looking at the nighttime sky and the stars. A lot going on. Much in the distance? Not really. I do believe we probably went here in the past when we were looking at areas of interest, when we were trying to see how close we could get to the Grainshed property on camera, right? I think we've already done that. So I guess we've revisited the area, but this, I mean, to be honest, the first time I came here, it was before Graham and others, were watching. So we've done like a full circle now. So I guess that's a good thing, right? And just one more reference, I guess, just for Graham. Hold on a minute. Graham. There's your grain shed. Really zoomed on in. Take it in, man. Matt Lingo, take a photo. Put it in a photograph for Graham. There we go. So briefly returning back to the Dylan Rounds focus in Bob Farrell's video made reference to the fact that Jim Terry, and I think they only worded it as Jim Terry, isn't allowed back on YouTube, that he's been banned for good. Does that apply to Mr. X too? Or could Mr. X set up his own channel under his own email? Would that even happen? Would he have permission from from Jim Terry to do so? I don't know, but that's what was talked about last night, and I think a few other people have referred to it like Gorilla Jack or something. But I just wanted to, share your thoughts, reactions to that. I mean, what would I say about it? I guess language, wording can play a role in how you do your videos and possible consequences it can lead to, or how some things could be twisted at times and you get done for it. So, a bit of a balancing act within a case and within a community and within the words expressed. So I guess you've got to be careful. But speaking of Ty Corbyn, maybe not so careful with words. Ty Corbyn, I think, was referring to salty pancakes regarding this point. I don't know if it's new drama or pre-existing drama coming back to the surface, the top. You remember yesterday, before Bob Farrell's live stream in which Ty Corbyn came on, called in, I said, I wonder if Salty Pancakes will ever try and get into the mix of things, wiggle his way into the centre of all of the drama and maybe become a part of it or ignite it further or something, something along that lines. And then with Bob Farrell's video, how Ty Corbyn called out pancakes, one, what's the best way of wording it, accusation or assumption, which Ty Corbyn seems to believe, is if you remember back in 2022 when Ty Corbyn, one of his homes or buildings he owns or once owned, had the door kicked in. The rifle wasn't missing though, because that was hidden somewhere, but the door was kicked on in and there was no cameras and it was trying to work out who did it. I think contacted the police, didn't really get anywhere. Ty Corbyn said last night on Bob Farrell's channel that it's most likely Salty Pancakes that kicked in his door in Montello, Nevada. Interesting in a way. Ty Corbyn also said how he wants to go and punch pancakes in the face. I mean, like fighting talk, will it ever happen? I don't know. I'm sure in the past there was supposed to be some fight arranged, where they were supposed to meet up in a certain spot. Ty Corbyn covered all the distance, mileage. Salty Pancakes never turned up. I mean, that sort of stuff going on. I know people in the chat and elsewhere will be saying, oh, this is so petty. This is really not good. People are going to get hurt and it's not worthwhile, whatever. It's very childish behaviour. All I would say is, if it was one and done, over and done with, meet at a place, get over and done with, and then move on, separate. If that's what needs to be done, then maybe it needs to happen. But even that keeps being delayed and not going ahead. So there's a lot of like talking. One person might be all in, but the other isn't really. The other might have better things to be doing or looking at other stuff, but they still kind of involve themselves at times. So are they in or out? Sometimes they say they're out, but then they end up being in a few days later. So I don't know, it's just like dragged out. That's really what it is. Grudges, dragged out drama, conflict. Is it directly in the Dylan Rounds case? Not as much now, so I guess that is a positive. I think reference made to Kaylee, not the other Kylie, but Kaylee. I'm trying to think. Well, the Lucin Scarecrow, but some people elsewhere have said that she's the swamp or something. Swamp rat, swamp. I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't say Kaylee looks like a swamp. She might have wonky glasses. But that aside, I think we'll leave it there. I said it was just like loose bits of updates. Just wanted to combine it all into one because there's no need to like drop it like breadcrumbs, right? Just put it all in one, title pretty clear to follow, go from there, okay? Still can do some map projects, just need to get round to creating them and then they can be presented, okay? So we'll see what happens next, but thanks for watching and being patient. Hopefully you understood this video, and as I said, if you do have any questions or comments you want to list down below, feel free to do so. Previous video, there is a link there in the pinned comments, and if you want to like the video and spread awareness of the Dylan Rounds case and the coverage, feel free to do so. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, goodbye and good night.